Okay, can you guys hear me? Sorry about that. Sorry. Uh, I know I started super late today. It's almost 2 a.m. where I'm at. The reason that I started the stream kind of late today is because I was just recording the Mafia, the Old Country, the story DLC, and I finished it, not too long ago. So I still promised you guys a Red Dead stream, and then Sunday we'll start a stream much earlier, and then, Wednesday we'll do Mafia, the Old Country, the free ride, stuff. We're we doing that? Yeah, the Mafia story DLC. It's, processing. Oh, Vonda, it's your birthday. Oh, happy birthday, Vonda. Everyone wish Vonda there a happy birthday. Is this game worth playing in 2026? For single player, yeah, single player is great. For uh, the Red Dead Online, it's best if you play it with friends. Oh crap, there. Yeah, happy birthday, Vonda. Uh, It's your dad's birthday today and my best friend's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday to your dad, and happy birthday to your best friend also. Is it at 2 a.m. for you? Yes, it is. But I'm fine. I'm usually up at this hour, so I'm not tired at all. What's your thoughts on Hell Let Loose Vietnam? I didn't get that much chance to play it. I played a few matches. The one thing I will say, that audio bug is really pissing me off. I don't know if they fixed it or not, but there's like times where like you'll lose all audio and all audio will be gone for like a minute. I really gotten really annoying on it's gotten really annoying on that one. You should get the Ezio sword. Yeah, I could try to get the Ezio sword. Thank you, Valdo. Are you liking my Assassin's Creed playthrough? On the next part, we'll be able to on the next part of my Assassin's Creed playthrough, we're also going to be able to fully upgrade the Jackdaw. So that'll be interesting. Hey, Mario, how you doing? Yeah, I heard, Mr. Green. Do you think you'll rebrand when GTA 6 comes out? What do you mean by rebrand? I don't think GTA 6 is gonna be woke, no. No, it's not. I don't believe that. Hey, Liskiff. How do you deal with burnout? Relax, try to play a game I like. One of the things oh crap, I keep falling off my horse today. Red Tears Angola, no, I haven't, Caton. I will look into it, though. How I deal with burnout is when I took a break from GTA Online, that was probably one of the best things I'd done on my channel because I was just so bored of GTA Online constantly doing the game. And so I was just burned out just constantly playing the game. All his cores are empty. I know. I know my cores are pretty empty right now. It's pretty bad. I should probably go to the store and get him something to eat. Yeah. Please feed your horse. I just did. Yeah. Why did you blow up my bunker cargo a couple days ago? I lost 2 million because of you. That was not me. There is some idiot that is pretending to be me going around doing that on YouTube. It's not me. Yeah, I know. Today is India's Independence Day. I think it was 1947, right? August 15, 1947. That was the date. Happy Independence Day to India, to all my Indian viewers. Did you get something to eat? Yeah, I had dinner before this, so I'm fine. Could you center your face cam? What do you mean? Hey, Pat, take care. See you Sunday. We're having my mom's birthday today, but her birthday is on Monday. Oh, okay. Happy birthday to your mom, Brandon. Everyone wish also Brandon's mom a happy birthday there. Bro, your thoughts on Luigi, Jone pleading guilty? Did he plead guilty? Did he? I'm honestly surprised if he pled guilty. I'm honestly surprised if he did. Yeah, I was thinking that case was gonna go fully to trial. Happy birthday, Austin. Wow, a lot of people are having their birthday today. Love the video. Thank you, Ryan. And thank you, Alien. My crew leader refused to play Red Dead Redemption 2 for a long time. She would play online, but not story mode. I finally convinced her to, play it. She loved it. Well, that's good. There's a lot of stuff in story mode that I never even got around to finishing. I should, I should finish it one day. Manijone admitted to killing the guy, but he didn't plead guilty. Oh, okay. Okay, so that's what's gonna happen. Why are you so surprised he was on camera? Well, he's what his lawyer is gonna hope for. The best thing his lawyer is gonna hope for is that he gets a sympathetic jury. That will probably be their defense. Rebranding, like changing your channel banner and profile picture to a new theme, like a GTA 6 outfit themed one. Maybe I should. Not necessarily the profile, but maybe like my my background on my YouTube channel. Maybe I'll change that. Blitz the League? What's that about, Blue Demon? Well, happy early birthday also, Kaiten. Wow, a lot of people are having their birthdays today, or soon. Yeah, I think the odd jobs are something that's going to be in GTA 6. They're getting that ready for, like, roleplay in GTA 6 multiplayer. Hey, Admiral Raven.
I'm taking you down.
Can I do a stream in Mandarin? I don't speak Mandarin. What was my job before YouTube? I worked in retail. It was not a fun job. Oh, I'll see you then, Hamid. Good night, dude. Are you getting a Man of War in the next Assassin's Creed playthrough? Yes. A lot of people have been waiting for that. When I fight the Pirate Hunter Man of War, we're gonna do it on the next part. We'll take them down. You have a favorite animal? I don't think so, no. Oh, crap. Oh, man.
You'll be sorry about this.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw Gypsy's video, but, Gypsy made a video the other day talking about the, GTA 6 fanboyism, and, he actually raised a really good point.
You get the hell away from me.
I actually saw his video the other day. I left a comment on it, too. Okay, in 2 months I'm about to travel to another city by train. I've never traveled anywhere by myself. Any advice? What's the reason for traveling to the city? If I could ask that. Have you seen a content creator that makes different hats like the one you're wearing? No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Te encontraré.
Do you have a favorite LA Noire case? Yes. The, Nicholson electroplating. I think that one was my favorite one. Oh, no, I haven't checked it. You sent me something on Twitter, Mario? What jacket is your character wearing? It's sick. I can take a look. I can take a look in a moment and tell you what it's called. I hate Battlefield for making the Need for Speed games end, and you should too. I never played the Need for Speed games, but I can kind of sympathize with you on like a game series ending. Do you know what one game series I don't like? I don't like the Horizon games, and I don't like them for the reason that you guys might think. It's not that I think the games are bad games. They actually look like generally good games. But one of the reasons I don't like the Horizon games is because I blame them for Killzone becoming abandoned. Because I was a really big Killzone fan back in the day. I played the Killzone games a lot. I liked them so much. We haven't gotten a new Killzone game in 13 years. And when that game came out, that game is the Horizon games. All Guerrilla Games did is spam Horizon, and they never come back to Killzone. And then when they did that event on Helldivers, where they added like the Hellgas skins on Helldivers, it sold so much, that DLC, and it showed how many fans still like Killzone. So I want them to bring back Killzone one day. But that's one of the reasons I got pissed at Horizon, and I blamed Horizon because it was that game for me killed Killzone, and that's one thing I never, liked. Oh, another thing happened yesterday. There was a car drive into a river. Thank God there was no one in it, but the car was totaled. Oh my God, that's horrible, Brandon. Are you talking about Forza Horizon? No, Horizon. The open world game. So where you play as that woman. It's like an apocalyptic thing. Like it's like hundreds of years in the future where there's like these robots and everything like that. I don't even remember the name of the full name of the game. It's like Horizon something. It's
Hello, sir. Welcome back.
wait. What am I doing here? I was gonna. There was one of you guys was asking what the jacket my character is wearing. Hang on.
Here you are.
Let me show you
Reckon
this.
You've been traveling since last time. Take a look at what we got. Hope you'll find what you need next time.
Wait, not up here.
Try us again sometime soon.
Oh, I forgot that Blackwater has a tailor. Right. Okay. No wardrobe in the general store. Yeah, you're right.
Hello. Welcome.
Okay. Let's see here. The coat that I'm wearing is called the Row Barrow Jacket. That's the coat that I wear. I'm meeting my lover. We're gonna go explore the city and go to museums and such. That's fine. Have fun. But the thing I will tell you is that if you're going to a place you've never been to, just try to research the city a little bit, and just try to make sure you know where the bad places are in that city, just so that you can avoid them. But I wouldn't be too nervous, though, personally. Blitz the League is a very brutal football game that's like an arcade-style game developed by Midway in 2005. It's known for gruesome tackles where you can break bones and juice your players. What? It's like a crime game, but like a football game? One of the things that made me laugh was her saying John's drawing in Arthur's journal sucks and that Abigail sucked. She was genuinely invested. Wait, who was Alien? Oh, your friend. Okay, your friend. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was your friend that you were talking about. Yeah, so your crew leader. I got a video of the car. I don't know if you want to see it. Let me know in PSN message because I'm going to bed. Okay. Well, thank you for the super chat, Brandon. I'll see you then. Good night, dude. Yeah, I do want to get back into streaming Fallout 76. I do want to give it a chance again. So there's like an actual story then, Blue Demon, in it? Kind of similar to Fight Night Champion then, huh? What's your thoughts on Mafia: The Old Country, the Man of Honor DLC? I actually really liked it a lot. I liked the story. I was actually surprised on how long it was. It was like almost 3 hours for me. So it was, I was actually genuinely surprised in how long it was for a $10 DLC. I thought that each chapter might be, short, but it was actually pretty long. Like, each chapter was about an hour long. So it was actually a pretty good one. I was a bit impressed the history the developers also did. That, casino place was actually a Freemason lodge. And I was surprised at how much research the developers did into that, too. Fallout 4, I liked it. It was one of my favorite games. The Armored Caracara, I will have a review of it coming up. Coming up this week. Do you think Dan Houser and Laszlo's absence will be felt in GTA 6? Yeah, it will to a degree. Yeah, you told me about that one, Caton. Would I ever become a GTA tryhard? No. No, I'm not that tired. I'm just yawning a little bit suggestive, but I'm not that tired. I want to go to sleep so bad, but it's so hot in my room, and I just feel so stressed and anxious for no reason. Do you have, like, a fan, though? Or AC? I never like the summer. I don't, because, like, some days it is just, it can just be so hot, it can just be, irritating, especially to go to sleep. I like how Enzo never liked Salieri in the entire DLC. Well, Enzo was right to steer clear. Like, he had just, a bad view of him. But also is, the thing is Enzo was the most loyal to Terezi. He was more loyal than Cesare was. Because he was constantly saying the Don isn't gonna like this, the Don should know about this, stuff like this, you can't do this without the Don's permission. And, like, he stuck up for the Don and defended the Don so much, and this is how, Terezi treats him in the end. So that's what I'll say about that, too. It's kind of sad, too.
There are things you could do to lower the price,
Hey,
huh?
GB.
Aha! Ça marche. Now we must be patient. Ah, bonjour. You've been away on some travels, yes?
Actually, hold on, let me check the, My crew leaders invested herself in the game and was genuinely disappointed in Dutch and absolutely hated Micah. I told her to start playing story modes because she never plays them. There's a lot. I finished the story mode, but there's actually a lot of, stranger missions I never fully finished. Which I should. Change decor? Okay.
We got ourselves a music lover.
I don't think that Tony would be focused on, going for Claude first. I think he would be focused on keeping the family together.
Okay, boys, just like always.
Have I seen Spy X Family? I think it would interest you because the setting is heavily based on East and West Germany. I actually started recently watching an anime, and I'm actually pretty invested in it. I've watched like 18 episodes. There's like 25, so it's like 7 left. But the anime is called Orb. That's just the name of the anime, and it's a historical anime. It actually takes place in Poland during the early Renaissance era. So it takes place like about 600 years ago. And it basically, the show is about how there was different characters that were trying to prove heliocentrism, which is basically that the sun is in the middle and that the Earth revolves around the sun. Because back then they believed in geocentrism, which was basically that the Earth was in the center and the sun revolved around it. That's what they believed. And if you spoke out against that, the church would heavily persecute you. And so I've been watching that one. It's like, but I was actually so impressed that even though it's like a Japanese anime, I was so impressed with how they got the Polish architecture right. I was so impressed with how they got the Polish names right, like all the characters' names. And there's even scenes in the show where the characters have written something in Polish. And if you actually like zoom in, like pause the thing, like and you just look at what they've written it in pretty fluent Polish for the show. So even though it's not translated and stuff like that, like there's one scene where this little girl gives her dad like a letter, and it just shows a letter on the screen for a second. But if you pause it, it's actually written in pretty fluent Polish, and I read the letter, so that was actually pretty good. So I was actually pretty impressed with that anime, how they researched like Poland. Oh, it's, thank you. I just saw $50 donation, largest donation today from Bakken. Hey, Pro, could you put Mass Effect Legendary Edition in your playthrough lineup after you complete GTA 6's main story? The Mass Effect trilogy has an incredible, story, Fallout-style choices, and I think I already know who your favorite character is gonna be. Yeah, I could definitely play the Mass Effect games. I could definitely play that. I could save that somewhere for, like, next year. Like, next year I could definitely play it, Bakken. Because, like, I'm probably going to be doing, GTA 6's story probably for 2 months. It's probably going to take me to finish it, how long it's going to be, how many parts I'm going to have. And then in January, I'm going to be playing through Yakuza, the new Yakuza game that's coming out. So I'm going to play that one. But yeah, I promise you, I will do Mass Effect. I will do it. And when we do Mass Effect, it will also be a pretty fun series to do, because it'll be the first time I play it. So I noticed that whenever I do those playthroughs, where it's like the first time I play a game, usually that gets a lot of views. So like a lot of people come by, and I guess they want to see my reaction to a lot of stuff. That's what happened with Yakuza. When I started playing it, like the first videos, they got a bunch of views, because people wanted to see my reaction to the story, and like the stuff like that. Thank you, Bakken. I really appreciate it, man. Up late, yeah, I am up a bit late. I know you're not a scientist, Pro, but how much do you think climate change should be a concern in our lives, especially younger people? Thank you, Tim Marku, for the super chat. I really wouldn't worry about it that much, because, like, I'm not saying that it's not happening, but I don't think that it's been happening to the degree that people were saying that it was going to. Because like 20 years ago, 20 years ago, there were scientists that were saying that, like, by the 2030s, the Earth is going to be flooded. Like, there was people that were saying that. And, like, we're about to hit, like, the 2030s, and stuff like that has not happened. And there have been, like, some seasons that have been much colder than, like, on record before. So, like, I'm not, like, a climate change denier or anything like that, but I just think that, the degree that they've said that it's happening at, I don't think it's happening at that degree. There are also a lot of other things that people need to factor in. Here's what people don't know, for example, is that if the United States, and I'm not trying to scare anybody when I say this, but if the United States, like, went all green tomorrow, like just completely green, solar panels, wind, everything, everybody drove electric cars, let's just say all fossil fuels were gone tomorrow. If that happened, that would still almost change nothing. Almost nothing. Because there are just so many countries in the world that, still do fossil fuels. Like, I think that Europe is only, like, for example, like, Europe is, besides, like, Russia, because Russia does a lot of fossil fuels, but if you just count, like, Europe without Russia, then, like, Europe is, I think it was only, like, 10 or 15% of all of the world's fossil fuels. That was just from Europe alone. So, like, it's, like, there are some countries where it's, like, fossil fuels, like, are produced by a lot, like China. I think China is the one that produces the most, but America, I think, per capita produces the most. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but, that's basically what I would say about it. So, no, I'm not, like, a climate change denier or anything like that, but, there's also another thing that people need to understand, and the one thing that people do need to understand is that there are a lot of really poor countries in the world, like really poor countries, and in those poor countries, they can only use fossil fuels. That is the only energy source that they can use. There is no like solar and wind and all that stuff. That stuff is expensive. People can't drive electric cars. Like, if you go to, like, a lot of, like, African or, like, you go to, like, a lot of South American countries, people can't afford electric cars. They're gonna be driving, like, gasoline cars that are, like, 30 years old. So, like, I don't know, like, what they expect to do in, like, situations like that, but, like, we can't get mad at people like that in those countries. We can't get mad at people for, like, using fossil fuels in those countries because they need it. Because, they can't afford a lot of this, clean solar, solar panels and stuff like that, the West, for example, has. So we need to look at every single country on its needs and what's going on specifically in those countries. That's more my view on it. I hope I explained, your question there, Tim Marku. Let me see. Professional, you are really an inspiration to all of us. I wish you an amazing day. God bless. Thank you, Sparkman. Thank you for the super chat also. Thank you, dude. She was confused on why Abigail was mad at John for protecting Pronghorn Ranch, and that she just left, and the ranch was grateful for John helping them. Well, thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Alien. I guess John did it out of a sense of loyalty also, because the ranch gave him a second chance. In Bosnia, a lot of people drive electric scooters. Yeah, but the thing is, dude, is that, you know, people need cars too. And also, I will tell you, is that some environments, electric cars cannot handle certain environments. They can't. Now, there was, where I live, for example, in the upper Midwest, the place that I actually live gets colder than Anchorage, Alaska. And I'm not joking when I say that. Like, people, when I tell people that, like, my region of the Midwest is colder than Anchorage, Alaska, like, they don't believe me. They think that Anchorage, Alaska is colder. But, where I live in the Midwest, the reason it's colder than Anchorage is because Anchorage is right on the ocean. It's Alaska's most, you know, the second most southern city beside Juneau. And it, the ocean keeps the city a bit warmer. There's mountains to the north, which basically stop the Arctic winds from, like, coming in. And they have, like, forests, like, with trees that stop a lot of the Arctic air. In the Midwest, it's just plains, like fields. We don't have any bodies of water or anything like that. We're basically just in the center of the country. And so the coldest I've seen is -40. That's the coldest I've seen. It was one day. It's not like that every day in the winter. That's like a very, very rare day. But I saw that once. And an electric car could not survive. There's almost no charging stations outside of the city. In the city, there's a few charging stations, but, like, going from town to town in the Midwest, an electric car would not do it for you. It wouldn't. So that's what one thing people need to understand, is that electric cars can't work everywhere. They can't. People think they can work everywhere. They can't. I'll try to, Austin, but I can't make any promises because I have so many playthroughs coming up. But I do promise you one thing. I promise you that I will do playthroughs of them. I just don't know when. Where I'm from, we get -50 Celsius occasionally. Where's that, Shadow? Would I drive from LA to New York? No. No. No, no, no. I will tell you something. I would only drive from LA to New York on one condition. And that one condition would be that I get $100,000 at the end of it. That's it. If I got paid $100,000, I'd do it. I'd do the drive. It'd be like, you know, a couple days, but I'd do it then. But other than that, is like, I don't think you can pay me even like, I don't think you could even pay me like, you know, 10 grand to like drive across the country like that. I wouldn't do it. Like, I drove like halfway across the country, and I've done it like several times. And doing it like several times, it is not fun. It takes a massive toll on you. It's horrible. The tiredness kicks into you. It's like, it's such a terrible feeling when you're driving across the country. It's such a bad feeling, because it's that the first 2 or 3 hours are great. You're on the highway, it's calm, stuff like that. But then eventually, a couple more hours pass. Your back starts hurting. Your bottom starts hurting, and then what happens is when the sun starts coming down, you're trying to drive as much as possible to get as much distance before the sun fully comes down. When the sun comes down, then you have to be much more careful depending on where you are, and then you have this tiredness that starts building up inside of you. At first, like, you notice it a tiny bit, like you're a little tired, and it just keeps building more and more and more and more. And I've had that happen to me. You know, I've driven 1,400 miles, so it's I will tell you that it's not fun. It is not an enjoyable experience. It's not something that I wish on really anyone. So I would not, if you're asking me if I drive from LA to New York, unless you're paying me, a bunch of money to do so, then I'm not going to do it. That's it. Is I'll take a plane from LA to New York, but I'm not going to drive that unless I'm being paid something. Bad places. I don't know if it's gonna be easy to find out considering surveillance cameras are everywhere. I feel dumb now. How can I find out certain places are bad, outdated public rumors? You could look up crime rates. That's one thing. You could also look up what people are saying. Like people, like if this is like a large city, because you live in Russia, right? So if this is like a large city in Russia that you're gonna be visiting, I'm sure there are YouTubers and stuff like that that are like content creators that have like made videos saying like the nice parts of a city and the bad parts. Like almost any city that you can find like that. You know, any city basically online you can find like videos. People say these are the nice parts, these are the bad parts, like guides, you know, stuff like that. Like check out one of those. Look one of those up. Love the videos, brother. Thank you. Thank you, man.
You got nothing better to do.
I drove from Arizona to Missouri. It was a good drive, 1,300 miles. Yeah, and for the most part, driving from Arizona to Missouri is not going... You're not going to really encounter that much traffic. It's mostly like, you know, mostly clear highways, clear roads. But once you get through the cities, it's going to be a bit rough. Thank you, Lost Cause Clan, for sponsoring the channel for 2 years. Are you a reader pro? Do you have any book suggestions? I do read a bit, but I don't really read books mostly. I mostly read online. But I actually did read a book recently, and I finished the book. It's not a very long book. I would actually recommend it to you. It's actually called Americanism, by Teddy Roosevelt, who was like one of the best American presidents ever. So like I know he published a few books, and I was looking into his books, and then like Americanism was one of his shorter books, and I didn't have that much time, so I ordered it. I ordered like an actual hard copy. I bought it and I read it the other day, or I should say more like 2-3 weeks ago. But it was actually a pretty decent read, so I would check it out. It's not a very long one. You could probably finish it in a day. Have I subbed to Drew Binsky? Isn't that the guy who does travels a lot? Like, he travels to, like, almost every single country? The fire trucks at the airport. The airplanes on top of the restaurant. People are hanging out windows. Buildings are moved, and you've completely taken apart City Hall. Chucky Finster, 1993. I don't know if I remember that line, Mario. It's from Rugrats. Look up self-help books or The Prince by Machiavelli. I've actually read The Prince a long time ago. That was a long time ago, though. Not trying to be funny, but do you believe in alien sightings and abduction stories? No. No, I don't believe that stuff. Look, I will tell you this. Here's my view of aliens. This is what I think about aliens. Do aliens exist? Probably, most likely. Like, because, like, there are, you know, millions of planets in this world. Millions in the universe. And, like, this idea that we're the only living thing on in the entire universe, or the only planet with living things on it, I find that highly unlikely. So there has to be some life on another planet. Whether it's intelligent or not, we don't know. You know, probably some animals or stuff like that on other planets. But we don't know how intelligent it is. But when it comes to aliens, have aliens visited our planet? No, absolutely not. Aliens have not come to this world ever. Now, how do I know that? Because there's so many conspiracies that aliens have visited our planet and the government's kidnapping them and like holding them in like Area 51 and all of this other crap. That's nonsense. It's BS. The reason that it's BS is just think about it this way. If aliens have the technology to go from their galaxy to our world here, then they also have the capabilities to invade us or attack us. If they have the capabilities to send a ship here, they also have the capability to attack us. And how would, you know, an alien empire react if the U.S. government started kidnapping their people and stuff like that, and just holding them hostage. You know, they would come here and attack our planet. So, I don't think that the government's holding aliens hostages, because if they were, the aliens would have attacked us by now. So I just don't believe that. Now, I think the government is probably hiding, you know, sightings. Maybe they've seen some weird things in the galaxy and stuff like that, like some weird things in space, but they're not telling us. That's entirely probable. But, like, this idea that aliens have, like, come here and visited our planet and the government's holding them hostage, no. Now, I don't like the government. I know the government does a lot of bad things, and they've also engaged in conspiracies and cover-ups. I fully get that. But, like, when it comes to the alien stuff, I don't believe that. I don't think the government is, like, holding aliens hostages and stuff like that. I think it's a load of nonsense. That's what I think. But I will say the one thing is, and this is what people never think about. People never think about this when it comes to aliens. When there's 1 minute left, deliver the target, by the way. This is the one thing people never think about. And the one thing that people never think about is they always say, what about aliens visiting us? What if we're the aliens? Nobody ever says that. What if we're the aliens? And what I mean by that is, what if we are the ones who end up visiting their planet? Not they come here, because everybody always assumes that they're the ones that are going to come here. But what if we are the aliens? Because if we come to somebody else's planet, we're the aliens. And nobody ever talks about that. Nobody ever thinks about that. But we very much could be the aliens. Like, you know, we could visit a planet, like, in the future, like, maybe in the next couple hundred years. And the planet that we visit, there's intelligent life, but they're like cavemen, basically. Like, they haven't advanced or anything like that. Like, you know, something like that could happen. So, like, we might be the aliens to somebody else. So just always think about that, too.
It's all there for you. Hope it was worth it.
That's Scientology. No, not that crap. That's like a cult. I'm talking about, like, us visiting, like, you know, another planet. Not like the Scientology stuff that they're pushing around, like, you know, humans were, like, created by some alien emperor and stuff like this. It's nonsense. No. I don't even really consider that a real religion. Literally, Scientology says that humans were sent here from outer space. No, I'm not talking about, like, humans, like, you know, being created by aliens and stuff like that. I'm talking about us, you know, advancing in the next couple hundred years and then going to another planet. That's what I'm talking about. Stuff like that. Would I rather visit North Korea, Eritrea, or Turkmenistan? Ugh. Turkmenistan. Because as bad as North Korea and Eritrea is, Turkmenistan would probably be the safest country compared to them. Like, Turkmenistan generally does not harass tourists. So, like, where North Korea harasses tourists, Turkmenistan doesn't really do that. So, even though it's a brutal dictatorship, it's not as bad as North Korea. So, it would be Turkmenistan. And Eritrea is something else. Like, Eritrea is that's the horrible dictatorship. What do you think of Tom Cruise? I think that Tom Cruise is a great actor. He's one of the best actors, but I think that he's also stupid at times too. Like, especially with the Scientology stuff. Like, there really never has been a bad Tom Cruise movie that I've watched. Like, generally, whenever I watch any kind of movie, he always does a great job. Always, all the time. So, like, you know, he's generally, you know, a smart guy. But, like, I don't know how he can get attached to Scientology stuff like that. Like, he's a great actor, but, like, just to waste your time on stuff like that, like, I don't get it, personally. Have I played The Division 2? I played it, but I never got into it. What time period would I want a hypothetical L.A. Noire spin-off to be set in? Maybe the mid-50s. You know, about 10 years after, you know, L.A. Noire. Maybe we could do that. Do I know the story of Margaret, I, the Queen of Denmark, Norway, and Sweden? No, I don't, Elias. What's Scientology? Scientology is this religion that was basically created by this, like, science fiction writer, and it was a bunch of actors, mostly it's like Hollywood celebrities that are, like, into that, and they I don't know it all fully, but, like, they believe that, like, it was some, like, ancient, like, emperor, like, alien emperor had basically created humans, like, thousands of years ago. It's like, and, like, I just find it so ridiculous. You know, people have the right to believe whatever they want, but I also have the right to criticize that. And that's basically what I think about it. Do you think that Grand Theft Auto 3 should get a full-blown remake? What, you mean something like Assassin's Creed? Like the Black Flag, a remake? Yes. I would be all for that if we got like a brand new engine and we got like, we got like, you know, new voice actors and stuff like that, like, a lot of that stuff, like, new scenes. So I would, here's the thing is, if they ever made like a GTA 3 remake, right? I would love for them to put in new missions, like, you know, new stuff like that, like stuff that was not in the original. Like, because one thing that I really like about the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake is that it has brand new missions. Like, it has new missions, story missions that did not appear in the original. Like, they expand Edward's story. I really like that a lot. Like the crew members, like stuff like that, like the new crew members that Edward can get. I really like that. So I think that that's really cool. What's the worst state that I visited? Oh, I had to think about that one. The worst state I've ever been to? I don't know, really. I don't know, because every state has had good places and bad places. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. If I had to answer the question, one state that I entered, and I only spent a day in that state, so it was only a day, and I didn't like it that much, was California. I was just there for a single day. I don't think it really counts as me visiting the state, so I can't give a full opinion. But basically, what happened was, it was 2 years ago. I was in there for a day, and then a year ago when I went to the Fallout event, and then, you know, me and my friend were going to the Sandy Valley thing, and I think Sandy Valley is in California. And it's like right at the border of Nevada and California, so it technically is California. But my buddy was telling me when we were driving, he was telling me that the moment that you drive from Nevada into California, the road changes, and he says the road gets really bad. And I thought that he was joking at first. I didn't think he was being serious. And we were driving on like a paved road in Nevada. And the second that we get into California, it's just gravel road. Like, you just hear it, like, bumping, like, just up and down, up and down. I'm like, what the F? And he's like, oh, that's it, we're in California. And I was like, what? What? So, you know, I know there's really nice places in California, and I don't want to diss the state entirely, so I don't want to, like, you know, offend anybody or anything like that. But it was just, it was just that, like, it was just, like, driving into that state, and then the road just immediately gets, like, really bad. It was, like, an experience that I'd never forget, personally. Now, do I have a favorite movie tie-in game? What do you mean, a movie tie-in game? Well, what does that mean? I don't know exactly where it was, Bakken. I know it was like, it was from Nevada, it was a desert, so it was a desert still. And it was like the Nevada desert into California. It was like, and it wasn't like the highway or anything, it was like a road, like in the desert. And like the second that like it just turns to gravel from like the road in Nevada was nice, there was no issues with it. And then the second like you get into California, the road just changes for the worse.
Oh, you no good bastard.
Oh, like Scarface? Oh yeah. If we're gonna say a movie tie-in game, Scarface. I think we can all agree that Scarface is probably like the best movie game ever made. So it's yeah, I would say Scarface, yeah.
Oh, Lord above.
No, I don't think that this is, it's too much conspiracy, like I said, Zach. I don't think it's true.
Oh, you no good bastard.
No, I've never heard about that. That some Ukrainian scientists said that there was like a 14 to 36 kilometer size thing near the moon. The worst movie I've ever seen? Oh, I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. That was gonna be a tough one. Oh, thank you, Stuntman Mike. Thank you for the super chat. I'm sorry I didn't see your super chat earlier. Is there anything you want to ask me, Stuntman Mike? I do want to play True Crime Streets in New York eventually. Is the episode where Tommy stays over at Chucky's while his parents are away. Also, there's an episode where Drew buys this large Angelica statue. Huh.
Oh, you no good bastard.
I don't know that one then, Mario. I'm gonna have to rewatch it. But Mario, did you start watching Recess yet? Did you start watching that one? Because if you like these old cartoons, I'm telling you, you're gonna like Recess. You will. Like Recess, like I love that show so much. I even watch it still to this day, even though I know almost all the episodes by heart. And it's just I love watching the show, but it also makes me sad so much because I knew how much I've grown up. But you can watch the entire Recess show on YouTube for free. Like, there's this one guy who uploaded the entire Recess show. Like, every episode is like a separate video. So, like, just look up, like, Recess full episodes, and it'll come up on YouTube. The only thing that sucks is there's no comments available, like, on all the videos. But it's, but you can, like, watch the entire Recess show. Anybody here ever watch Recess? Like, Recess was just such a great show. I used to love that show so much when I was a kid. The funny thing about Recess is there is so many Cold War jokes in that show, like so many Cold War jokes just making fun of like the Soviet Union, like so many, because even though it's a kids show, and only like 90s kids would really understand that, a lot of those jokes, because it was like right after the show came out, like right after the Soviet Union came out in the 90s, or the Soviet Union collapsed, and so it was just like there's so many jokes making fun of the collapse of the Soviet Union in that show. It's great. It's hilarious.
Oh, you gonna see me again?
Have you ever got around to visiting Alaska yet? I'm still saving to visit Anchorage. I'm looking forward to it. No, I haven't yet. You know, my dad was supposed to visit with me back in June, but he couldn't. And so I told my dad that I would wait to go visit with him because I didn't want to go by myself.
Damn it all.
Thank you, Snowy Imp. Did you know that the damages caused by the earthquake in Nicaragua in 1972 was never fully repaired until the 1990s? What does that tell you about the Somozas and the FSLN? That they don't care about the country. You know the thing is about that, Mario, is Mario Gunner. When Gunner, you've watched my Black Ops 2 playthrough, right? So like you remember when I was doing the Black Ops 2 playthrough, I was talking about the history of Nicaragua, which is Raul Menendez's country. And I was talking about the FSLN, which are the Sandinistas. And I talked about the Contras also. But I talked about how the Sandinistas have ruined Nicaragua. They just destroyed the country, just ruined it so badly. And I said that that Daniel Ortega was a dictator. Like, the socialists have basically just taken the country of Nicaragua and just ran that country into the ground. That's essentially what they did. And when I talked about that, I did the playthrough, it was like a year and a half ago. So when I did the playthrough like a year and a half ago, and wasn't actually not even a year ago, actually, so I should say a year ago, but like when I did the playthrough almost a year ago, right? I had people that were, you know, coming in my comment section and they were like attacking me over it, and they were saying like, oh no, the Sandinistas are good people, you know, they're socialists who are fighting imperialism, and you know, they're standing up to the United States, and the United States is, you know, harassing their country and blah 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 this. But then it turns out that I was proven completely correct. I was proven completely correct because Daniel Ortega, just a couple weeks ago, the dictator of Nicaragua, suspended all elections. He suspended all of them. And usually dictators don't do that. Usually dictators still allow elections, but the elections are always rigged. And the elections are only for show. But like he did a different thing where he just essentially said no more elections, and he said that we don't need elections because we represent you, the people. The government that's currently in charge represents you, the working class. You know, we the socialists are protecting you guys, and so you don't need elections. That was basically what his argument was for abolishing all elections. And so I was completely correct when I said that he's a dictator and he's running the country in the ground. I wonder if all the people who talked crap to me and told me that he was resisting American imperialism are going to tell me that I was right now. Because it was look, I will say this. I know that America did horrible things in Nicaragua. I'm not saying they didn't. Like when America supported the Contras, the Contras were basically cartel thugs. That's basically what they were. So I get that America did horrible things in Nicaragua, but the socialists have been in power in Nicaragua for since 2006 right now. So over 20 years. And they have turned the country into a dictatorship and just completely ruined and destroyed the country. So America didn't do that. The socialists did that at the end. It was the Sandinistas, the FSLN party, that did it. Let me see. Oh, I saw the milestone chat from Snowy Imp. What was your thoughts on Joseph Broz Tito? About him is he's a very weird guy. About Tito is when it comes to Tito, here's how I would describe him. I would say that Tito is a bad guy, but I wouldn't call him evil. I would say that Stalin is evil. Like, Stalin is evil, Tito is just a bad person. That's the difference between the two of them. So, like, did Tito kill people? Yes. He did some pretty, bad things, but it was nowhere near the scale of, like, what Stalin did. Like, Stalin, it was just pure terror constantly. Like, Tito didn't really engage in that terror. He didn't really do stuff like Stalin. And so, the thing is that Tito, even though Tito was a communist, he was, the one good thing that Tito did is that Tito actually kept his country sovereign and independent. So yes, he was a communist, but one thing he did do is he kept Yugoslavia independent and sovereign. Like, he didn't let the Soviet Union colonize, Yugoslavia and turn it into, like, a puppet state of theirs, like what they did with the Warsaw Pact. So, like, when Stalin tried to basically, like, take control of Yugoslavia, he's like, no, piss off, this is our country, you're not going to tell us what to do. So, like, and Stalin tried to have him assassinated multiple times, but he resisted that. So, he largely protected Yugoslavia from, like, being, turned into a satellite state of the Soviet Union. So, he deserves credit for that, for, like, at least protecting his country from, like, the Soviets, but he was a dictator at the end of the day, and he did do some bad things, but, he wasn't as bad as, like, somebody like Stalin, for example.
Well, I think you know what to do. I'm sure Leviticus Cornwall didn't get where he is with hugs and kisses. Just try not to.
There's another milestone chat. Oh, there was? I'm sorry. Let me see. Oh, it was from Victor. I'm watching your new series called the West. I'm watching a new series called The Westies, which is a show about the Irish gangs in New York. J.K. Simmons stars in it. Good show so far. 3 episodes. And what time period does it take place? I might look this one up. Thank you, Victor. Hello from Romania Pro. Legal question regarding GTA San Andreas event. Tenpenny forcing Hernandez to shoot Officer Pendlebury can be considered entrapment? No. That's not entrapment. Entrapment is when the police trick you into committing a crime so that they can arrest you. So, that's not entrapment. So, like, I'll give you an example of what entrapment is. Like, there was this, I'm trying to remember the case. Okay, yes. There was this case that happened, and I will tell you this. The cop who did this is a massive scumbag in real life. Like, the cop is just a piece of shit, the cop who did this stuff. But there was a case that happened in the 1920s. And basically what happened in this case, it was this cop that entrapped this guy and arrested this guy falsely. But here's what happened. There was a police officer that was undercover. He was an undercover prohibition agent. And what he was trying to do is he went up to this guy who was like a World War I veteran, and World War I veterans were still pretty young at that time. It was only 10 years since the war ended, but like the cop told him, he's like, hey, I'm a World War I veteran, you're a World War I veteran, why don't we go and get something to drink together, and stuff like that. And at that time, alcohol was illegal because of prohibition, and like the guy, the World War I veteran was telling him repeatedly, he was like saying like, no, I don't want to get in trouble and stuff like this, and the undercover cop just kept pressuring, no, come on, let's have some drinks, we'll like talk about what we went through in the war and stuff like this. And eventually, the guy's like, okay, I'll go and buy us some alcohol, and he found some guy that was like selling whiskey or something like that. He bought a bottle of whiskey for them, and then the second he brought the bottle over, like, he revealed that he was an undercover agent and arrested the guy. And the case went to trial. And when it was like the most BS ridiculous thing that you could arrest somebody for. Like, he was pressuring the guy didn't want to buy alcohol, but he told him like, hey, let's catch up on our World War I memories, and the guy ended up getting arrested over this. When the case went to trial, the guy argued to the judge, and he told the judge, he's like, I have no criminal record, I never committed a crime or anything, I served my country, I just, I got literally lied to by this guy. He told me he was a veteran too, we were just gonna get some drinks, we weren't trying to do anything bad, and, this guy lied to me and everything like that. And then the judge looked at the case, and the judge was actually good in the case. The judge looked at the case, and he basically said, this is ridiculous. This guy does not have a criminal record, he never committed any kind of crime, and you basically forced him into committing something that he wouldn't have done on his own. And that was entrapment, and that basically set the precedent for entrapment. That case created the precedent for entrapment. So, like, the reason entrapment became a crime in America was because of that case specifically. So that's where it originated from. And then the Supreme Court basically ruled it. I think it was the Supreme Court or it was the federal court ruled what entrapment was. So what basically the definition of entrapment, it is when the police that are undercover pressure you into committing a crime that you normally would not commit a crime for. So, like, they basically instigated the crime. So, like, to prove entrapment, you have to prove that the police instigated the crime to happen in the first place. So, like, in that case of the World War I veteran who bought the alcohol, he would not have gone around looking for illegal alcohol if the cop did not pressure him. The cop kept pressuring him even after he said he didn't want to, but he kept pressuring him until eventually he did it. So, like, the police officer instigated the entire crime in that aspect. Like, there was no, and like I said, the cop is a piece of crap who did this. Like, he's a loser. But that's basically what entrapment is the police that are undercover are basically instigating the crime. The crime would not have happened if the police were not instigating the crime. But there have to be some limits. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, if the police, for example, pretend to be like a burglar. Like, if the police pretend to be like, I'll give you an example. Like, let's say that there's undercover cops and that they have like a truck, like a large truck, and they're just selling sneakers, like really expensive sneakers, for only like a quarter of the price. And when they tell people in the neighborhood, they tell them like, oh, hey, these fell off a truck, which is basically code for we stole them. And then people go up to them and they buy the sneakers. That's not entrapment. They're gonna get arrested. And the reason that's not entrapment is because the people knew that this stuff is most likely stolen. Like, who sells sneakers for like a quarter of a price? So like the people knew that it was stolen. So that was basically, at least according to the police, that was an argument to get people off the streets who would be buying stolen goods. That was at least according to the police. But entrapment, like I said, is to prove it has to be a crime that would normally not be happening unless the police instigated it. Now, if for example, like in that exact same situation that I described to you, if the cops were selling like stolen sneakers and they went up to you and they said, hey, do you want to buy these sneakers and stuff like this, and you tell them no, I don't want anything to do with it, and then the cop just kept pressuring you after that, and they kept like saying to you like, hey, keep buy it, and you keep telling them no, and then eventually you gave in, that's more of a case for entrapment. But if the police are like, hey, we were selling these sneakers, they fell off they fell off a truck, and you just decide, okay, I'll buy it, yeah, that's not entrapment. You're gonna get arrested at that point. But here's the thing is, in entrapment cases, and this is what's important in entrapment cases, criminal records matter. They do matter. So like, I'll give you an example. If anybody here has played Mafia 2, in the Mafia 2 storyline, like when Henry was a rat, basically, like he was a federal government agent. Like, a lot of people don't want to admit to it. He wasn't like an actual agent, but he was working for them. So he was working for the feds. He was basically a contact of theirs. When Henry did that heroin deal. He instigated the crime when he basically pressured like Vito and Joe into the heroin deal, and like Vito did not want to get into the heroin deal. That is actually not entrapment. It's not. Because even though it does fit the definition of entrapment, where the government or somebody working for the government, it doesn't even need to be the government. It could be somebody working for the government, like Henry, for example. He was a rat. So like the reason entrapment would not work in that situation is because Vito has a criminal record. That is, Vito spent several years in prison, and the police probably have a good idea that Vito is a made man of the family. Like he's associated with the Falcone family, and what a court would argue if Vito got arrested for the heroin deal, and Vito basically tried to argue entrapment and saying like, oh, Henry pressured me into this, I didn't want to get involved in the heroin deal. Courts would basically argue, you already have a criminal record, you associate with the Falcone family, and so this is not a crime that the government instigated. This is a crime that you would have gotten involved in regardless. And even Joe could have even been arrested too. Like, Joe's case would not have worked for entrapment. Even though Joe doesn't have a criminal record, all the government would need to do is the government would need to prove that Joe has a connection to the Falcone family. They would just need to say like, oh, he's a member of the Falcone family, or he associates with the Falcone family, he is prone to crime. So if somebody is prone to crime, if somebody has like a record of crime, or they're likely to commit crimes, the entrapment defense does not work as well. It has to be somebody that's like totally innocent. So like if you have like a complete clean record, like you've never committed crimes before, and like then like a government agent or somebody working for the government is like pressuring you into committing a crime, that's more likely when it becomes entrapment. So like and I know I've been talking a lot, but like to answer your point right there, when you were like telling me like a legal question, when Tenpenny forced Hernandez to shoot Pendlebury, can that be considered entrapment? It's not entrapment, because Tenpenny was not planning on arresting Hernandez for that. It was a murder. So like the government can't, the government, if there was like an undercover agent, and an undercover agent basically like told you, go and kill this person, and you went and killed that person, not only would you get arrested, but the government agent would get arrested for that too. He would get arrested with murder too, because he told you to do it. So like that was it. So like an entrapment case is not going to work like that. So it wasn't that Tenpenny was trying to get Hernandez arrested or anything like that. It was more that what he was trying to do is he was trying to trap Hernandez into Crash, because it was basically like, you got your hands dirty, your hands are bloody now, you're just as guilty as us, so now you have to help us. That was basically what Tenpenny was trying to do. He was trying to make Hernandez have a guilty, be guilty and have blood in his hands, and now Hernandez has no choice but to work with them because he's just as guilty as them. So that's ultimately what Tenpenny was trying to accomplish with that. So I hope I answered your question. So it wasn't entrapment. It was just basically Tenpenny trying to force Hernandez into being a member of theirs. That's essentially what it was. Because how are you going to argue that in court? Are you going to argue that like Tenpenny forced you? Like, and if you're wondering, if Hernandez tried to argue that in court, he might be able to get a reduced sentence, but he's still going to get prison time. You don't know what it's going to be. He might, Tenpenny's the one who would get the highest prison sentence because he's the one who ordered the hit. So, like, the person who does the killing isn't always the person who gets the highest sentence. It's the person who orders the hit at the end of the day who actually gets the higher sentence. So, like, a hitman is much less, is likely to get a lesser sentence than the guy who orders it. So a lot of people don't know that. So, Hernandez would still be going to jail, or prison, I should say, because jail is for, misdemeanors. But he would be, he would probably be released eventually, but Tenpenny would never get out. So that's the difference between them. Okay. Oh, crap. Oh, I gotta get one of these bags here, I just realized it. Pick up supplies bag. Okay, hang on. I might not make this. I'll try. Yeah, just talk a little too. When I start talking a lot, I talk too much. Thank you, Vic, for the super chat. Man of Honor DLC in the morning. Okay, we got some units, though, at least. Does Leo appear in the new DLC? No. You sent something, Jolly? Wait, let me see. I'm sorry I didn't see your post earlier, Jolly. Thank you for the super chat. What cities do you think are the worst in the Rockstar Gameverse? I say Carcer City without a doubt, the worst city with institutional corruption. Yeah, Carcer City is just an overall messed up city. It's a really bad place. The police chief is corrupt, gangs rule the streets, the police are notorious in the city. Cottonwood is also a pretty bad place. That's in, Manhunt, too, the southern city. So that's a pretty bad place, too. You always dress for the occasion. It's so funny to go. Thank you. I stay out of the drama mood. Thank you for the lesson. By the way, Chetislaw, I always say his name wrong. The dictator of Romania. Ceausescu, that's I think how you say his name, did the same thing Tito did. However, he turned Romania into Europe's North Korea. Lots of similarities. Maybe to a degree. He was a little bit more cooperative with the Soviets. But the thing about Tito is that Tito wasn't hated as much as Ceausescu was. Like there's a lot of people like. There are a lot of people like that are that live through like Tito's reign that like live all over today. Like they live in Bosnia, they live in Croatia, they live in Serbia, Slovenia. But even though like some of these countries they don't necessarily like each other. Like I know Croatia and Serbia, for example, they have a lot of beef. Like they generally don't like each other. But despite the countries not liking each other, is that there's people in both countries that actually like Tito as a leader. So like that's the thing is that Tito was not a hated. He wasn't as despised as like some of the other dictators. Yes, people didn't like him too, but Tito was different because Tito did not prevent his people from traveling. So like Tito basically told people, if you want to travel to the west, go ahead, it's fine. That was it. Like he didn't try to kidnap his people or hold his people hostage like other dictators did. So like Yugoslavians were able to freely travel. So like if you were a Yugoslavian and you said, hey, I want to go and take a vacation in America for a month, you could do that. Like the dictatorship in Yugoslavia wasn't going to stop you from doing that. So that was it. It's that Tito allowed free travel in Yugoslavia, where like Ceausescu did not allow free travel in Romania. Oh, Disney XD has a marathon of Recess on August 30th. Really? I don't know if you know about this, Austin, but Disney was going to create like a Disney was going to create a reboot of Recess. I don't know if you know about that. They were going to do it where all of the characters are adults. Like all of the Recess characters, and then their kids, the kids of the main characters are like going to a new school and stuff like that. And I actually thought that sounded like a great idea. I thought that actually would sound really cool. But when I read the script for it, the script was terrible. Like the script was leaked, like the story and everything, it was terrible. It was really, really bad, and it got canceled. So like that was I hope that they do eventually reboot Recess, because I'd love to see like the characters grown up and actually adults and stuff like that. But they have to have a better script, because that original script was really bad, really, really bad. Which pro-US dictatorship would you live in? Singapore. And Singapore, I wouldn't even say is completely pro-US, but it's definitely anti-communist. So, Singapore. I'll tell you right now, it's dangerous every day right now. I could get kidnapped for military service any point of time. Thanks for the advice. No problem, let's skip. And I really hope that this stupid war ends soon. Like, I really hope it does. Like, we got two really stupid wars going on right now, the Ukraine war and also the Iran war, and hopefully, both of these dumb wars, they eventually end. Like, it's just, are you married? No. I wish you the best, let's skip. I hope everything's fine with you. Will I play Ace Combat 548? Yes, and I want to play 4 too. The new TV show, The Westies, takes place in the early 80s because John Gotti and Castellano are in the story. The show is still airing new episodes. Castellano, that's the guy who, that was John Gotti's boss. He blew him up, didn't he? Or no, yep, he had him killed. He had him killed, that was it. Because he was gonna stop Gotti from dealing drugs. Thank you, Victor, for the super chat. I would like to, Vic. I just don't know if I have enough time for it, though. Turkmenistan is a brutal dictatorship. It is oftentimes described as like North Korea of Europe. That is true, or Central Asia, I should say, not Europe. Is it canon that Aiden Pierce got hacked by Fixer's online players? They went after him. Whether they hacked into him or not, we don't know, but... I got a code, Elias. It's a DLC though. Is Theodore Roosevelt a good president? Oh, he was a great president, one of our best. How would I rewrite Sweet? I don't know. I have to think. I think it was fine the way he was. Will I stream the Ghost of Yote DLC? I'll do a playthrough of it. I am excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. Would America have gotten involved in World War I if Teddy Roosevelt was president? Highly possible, yes, because Teddy Roosevelt was a bit aggressive with that. That's probably one of the things I didn't like about him. But he still would have been a far better president than what we had with Wilson. Wilson was one of the worst presidents we ever had. in history before, like ever. The Polish crime show I told you about many months ago. What remind me the name of it again? It is 3 o'clock in the morning for me. Thoughts on the Arma series? I like it. I just didn't get too much into it. Do you know that Russia has been at war with Ukraine longer than with Nazi Germany? Yes, that is true. That is a fact. Germany invaded the Soviet Union on June 22nd, 1941, Operation Barbarossa, and they fought Germany until May 1945, which was like, you know, I would say probably middle 1945, because there were still a few German holdouts by middle of May 1945. So it was basically like they fought Nazi Germany for about 3 years and 11 months. And so Russia has been fighting Ukraine since February 2022, and now it's been four years and 6 months, four and a half years now. Wow, that is something else. I remember when the Russian media kept saying that the whole thing was going to be over soon. Like when it first started, they said it was going to be over within like a couple weeks, and you see how much that war is a disaster. But America is having its own problems too. We're having our disaster right now with Iran.
I'm telling you, not everyone's made for this kind of life.
Get the hell off there, damn it! You don't belong here. Now get. You best get the hell out of here.
Will I ever play the Arkham games? Yes, one day. What do you know about the mob in Las Vegas, especially in their heydays around the 60s, up until their eventual downfall in the 80s with Tony, Splitro? I don't know that much about it. I know the Mafia had a lot of influence in a lot of casinos, but, and here's the crazy thing about Las Vegas, though, with the Mafia. A lot of people say that Las Vegas was a cooler city back in the day than what it is today. I don't know how true that is, because I wasn't alive to visit Vegas in, like, the 90s or the 80s or stuff like that. But, I was watching a video with, Michael Franchise. And, Michael Franchise, he was a capo regime in the Colombo family. And he does, like, videos in the Mafia today. Like, he's not in the Mafia anymore. But he does, like, videos talk about the Mafia and stuff like that on his YouTube channel. And I remember he did a video where he visited Las Vegas. And he said in his video, that Las Vegas was a better city when the Mafia ran it than when corporate ran it. He said that corporate does not understand what the people want. And he said that the Mafia was better with show business. And they understood what the consumer wanted better. So that was that was kind of crazy. I don't know how true that would be, but I would not be surprised honestly if the Mafia ran a more successful casino than corporate. Kind of a hard topic to talk about, but they already made modern history books. Long story short, they justify it and preach that war was necessary to combat the Western world. I don't know if you remember that when you remember Leskiff when you came by my stream when I was playing that game Book Smugglers. In that game Book Smugglers, it's like during the Russian Empire's occupation of Lithuania. And, like, at that time, it was the Russian Empire had basically banned the Lithuanian language from being printed in any books. They banned the Latin alphabet. They only allowed Russian Cyrillic. And they were, destroying Catholic churches in Lithuania, replacing it with Russian Orthodox, churches. They were, they were forcing kids in Lithuania to learn only Russian, essentially trying to destroy the culture of Lithuania. And like, I know Russian history textbooks, they almost never mention this. They don't mention like the Russification that they tried to do in like Lithuania. Not just Lithuania, it also happened in Poland and like stuff like that. But I think that the biggest problem I think that Russia has with its history, personally, like, I think the biggest problem that Russia has is that Russia historically has just had, like, from their perspective, if you look at their history, Russia always acts like a victim. Like, throughout their entire history, like, for hundreds and hundreds of years, they always act like they're a victim. They always act like they're being bullied. When, yes, there have been times in history where Russia has been bullied. Like, you had the Mongolians oppress them. You had even, my own, people's country, Poland, invaded Russia at one point in the 17th century. The Poles did attack Russia, too. And then you had, Napoleon, too. There was a lot of times in Russian history where Russia wasn't just the victim. Russia was actually the oppressor. And there was a lot of times in history where Russia actually started wars. It wasn't other countries starting wars of Russia. It was Russia starting wars. But the way that Russia portrays it throughout their history is they always portray it that they're a victim. They're always portraying it that there's a giant conspiracy against Russia. Everybody's against Russia for no reason whatsoever. Everybody hates Russia. And Russia has done nothing wrong. That's, from Russia's perspective, a lot of times how they're teaching stuff like that. That's how they usually teach it. They teach it that there's some, like, grand conspiracy. Everybody's out to get them. And they've done nothing wrong in their history. And when they cover, like, controversial subjects, they always say, like, oh, this country was doing this to us, so this is why we had to act aggressively, or something like that, or these people were doing that, and that's why we had to react to this and that. It's always an excuse after excuse after excuse. It's like Russia really, for most of their history, they haven't admitted to a lot of their bad things that they've done. And that's one of the reasons that, like, for example, like, Polish people, they have such a huge problem with, like, the country of Russia because of that. Because Russia has not, they haven't, like, admitted to a lot of the bad things that they've done. Here we go, the Russophobia. That's not Russophobia. I don't have anything against Russia, or Russian people, or Russian culture. Like, Skiff is one of my viewers from Russia. But he was talking to me about Russian history textbooks, and I was just telling him about how, like, Russia throughout its history portrays itself always as the victim. And it rarely covers the bad things that they've done.
Damn it.
Have I seen the Michael Jackson movie? No, I haven't.
Have you got something to say to me?
Let's see. Russian tyrants like Ivan the Terrible, Peter the Great, Nicholas the First, Lenin, Stalin, and now Putin. What I would say about that is that Russia throughout its history has never really had a truly democratic leader. Like, they've never had, like, a very humane, compassionate leader, like, throughout their history. Like, a lot of people, for example, think that Peter the Great was great, but I call him Peter the Psychopath, not Peter the Great. Peter the Great was actually a very brutal guy. He modernized Russia, he industrialized Russia, so he does deserve some credit for that. But if you want to know the type of person that Peter the Great was, Peter the Great was the type of person that if you spoke out against Peter, if you did something that he didn't like, not only would he have you killed, he would leave your body to rot in the streets for months. And he would not let anybody pick it up or, bury you or anything like that. If you did, you'd be killed, and you'd be left there with them. So, like, that's what he would do, is he would just leave bodies on the streets of, like, people that, like, he had problems with, and just, like, a message, this is what happens. And now, Peter, if you want to know how much of a psycho Peter was, is, Peter's son actually went against him when he was going through his reforms, and then when Peter ended up winning, his son ended up fleeing to Finland. He wrote a letter to his son, telling his son that he forgives him, and he gives him his word that everything will be fine, and he tells him, like, to come back to Russia. His son believed his word. His son came back to Russia. He had his son tortured and killed when he came back to Russia, and not only did he have his son tortured and killed, he also had the priest who gave his son his last rites killed too. So, like, how somebody could do something like that to their own child, that is just barbaric and just disgusting. So like that's what I'll say about Peter is that yeah, I call him Peter the psychopath. That's what I've a lot of times call him because that is just disgusting. But like that's the thing about Russia is that throughout Russia's history is Russia has never really had a truly kind leader throughout their history. They've never really had that. And I think that it's just throughout their history they've been used to like very authoritarian, very brutal leaders. Some Russian leaders have been way worse than others. You know, there are some leaders that have been better than others, sure, but they never had like a truly like compassionate, like, you know, humane leader. It's never really happened throughout history. Do Polish people understand people from Ukraine? To a degree. There are a lot of words that are between Polish and Ukrainian that are very similar that a lot of Polish people can understand. Well, the thing about Gorbachev is, Gorbachev tried to actually protect the Soviet Union. He actually tried his best to keep the Soviet Union together. In the end, it just didn't work out. It didn't. It was just, his reforms sped things up too much, and the whole thing just, collapsed. It fell apart on its own. Is human consciousness a mutation? No, it's not. It's just a it's just that voice that everybody has in their head that tells them when they've done something wrong. They tell, like that's that voice in the back of your head that's telling you when you've done something wrong and you have to make up for it. That's what it is. It's human consciousness is a result of us being able to think for ourselves. We develop a conscience. That's where it comes from, because we're really the only. We're really the only species that can really, like, truly think for themselves and, like, you know, communicate with each other and rationalize and reason with each other. I know there are some intelligent animals that can, like, communicate with each other, like, to a degree, but, like, we're really the only ones that can have, like, a sense of morality, I would say. We're really the only ones that have something like that. Okay, let me see here. Hey, Pro, how are you doing? I have a question. I'm an international student in the U.S., and I have do I have my First Amendment right living here in the U.S.? I'll be honest with you, Spreezo. And I'm not trying to scare you, it really depends. Because, and let me explain what I mean by that. The U.S. government cannot put you in prison for things that you say. So, like, if you basically just tomorrow just start saying in public, you know, F the president, F the U.S. government, and, you know, all of this other stuff, they can't put you in prison for that, because that violates the Constitution, because the First Amendment gives you a right to free speech. However, though, what they can do is they can revoke your visa. So I'm assuming that you have, like, if you're a student in the U.S., you have, like, a student visa or, like, some kind of stay. If you are, if you're, like, a permanent resident and you're studying in the U.S., generally they can't revoke that permanent resident unless you're breaking some kind of, you know, crime or something like that. Generally, permanent residency is allowed, even if, you know, you say things the U.S. government doesn't like. But if you, you know, say certain things the U.S. government does not like, especially if you post about that online, they can basically, what they can do is they can revoke your visa, and they don't have to give you a reason, and then you have to go back to your country. They can do that, and I don't agree with that. I'm just letting you know. I don't generally agree with that. I don't think that that's right. So I think people, you know, generally have a right to free speech. The one thing I will say, and I'm not saying you're saying this, is that I don't think that people should be insulting another people's country when they come in, but I don't think there's anything wrong with, you know, criticizing a government or anything like that, or, you know, or doing stuff like that. But like, you know, with this stupid Iran war that's going on, I don't know how you feel about the current Iran war. I personally think that the war is stupid. But if I was you, I would avoid talking about that, you know, publicly or making posts about that, because they could just be looking for a reason to revoke your visas. Like, that's happened before, where people have like criticized, like students have criticized the U.S. government before, and they've had their visas revoked. It's happened. So it's so like they can do that at any time. So just keep that in mind. They can't arrest you, they can't put you in prison, so don't be scared of that. But they could make you go back to your country. They could do that. Thank you, Real Spreezo, for sponsoring my channel for 2 years. Well, that's, if you don't like the U.S., you should leave anyways. Well, the way that I see it is, my personal opinion on this, like, if somebody, like, hates America, we're not talking about the government. We're just talking about, like, America as a country. I don't think they should be coming here. Like, if they just hate America as a country. But if somebody has, like, because, like, it's like, why would you come to a country you don't like? So, like, if I heard, like, somebody that was, like, here, they were from another country, like, I hate America, I would just say to them, like, why are you here? Why are you here in our country if you don't like it? Like, go back to your country. But it's something else if, like, if somebody is, like, criticizing the U.S. government or saying, I don't agree with them doing this or that, or this is stupid, or the president's an idiot, or something like that, I don't think that that should be a reason for, like, you know, revoking somebody's visa, or, like, you know, sending them back or anything like that. I think that that's, I think that's a bit too much. But, like, I will tell you, for example, is, one thing, and this is one thing that people don't know about, and I don't want to bring the whole, you know, Israel-Palestine drama into this, because it's just such a mess, but there are, like, 26 or 27 states in this country that have, like, laws on the books that if you are working with the state government, like the state government of, if you're doing some kind of job with the state government, and you have had a history of criticizing the government of Israel, the state government will actually not do business with you whatsoever. They will actually cancel everything with you. They won't work with you. So, like, say that you're, like, a construction, so, like, you're not gonna get arrested for, like, criticizing Israel, but say that you're, like, for example, like, a construction company, and, like, you, you're working with the state government, like, the state government gives you hires you, and says, like, hey, we want you to build, like, this new square for, like, our city or something like that. So, like, you're a construction company, and the state government says, we want you to build this, and you're in the middle of working on a project, and then somebody from the state government, like, looks at one of your tweets or something like that and says, like, oh, you criticized, like, the Israeli lobby, or you criticized the Israeli government, they will then revoke all work with the government, with the state government. They will basically not work with you at all. They will basically just say, that's it, we're not working with you. They will cancel everything with you. So, like, several states have laws like that. It's like half the states in the country. I think it's ridiculous. It's like, why should a state government care about you criticizing a foreign government? I personally think it's a violation of the First Amendment. I think that law is unconstitutional. I think that's ridiculous. So, like, that's the way that I look at it personally. I don't want to get into the whole Middle Eastern drama. I don't want to talk about that, but I just think that it's ridiculous that like, state governments can have laws where like, literally they can ban you from working for them because, like, you criticize a foreign country, which is just, that's absolutely ridiculous. I think that's that. I can't believe I was fired from my contract for talking crap about the owners. We're not talking about that, Swag. It's not talking about that. I'm talking about if it's your company. Like, imagine you are the CEO, it's your construction company, and you basically are working with the state government. And then what happens is you're in the middle of a project, and the state government says, like, oh, you know, you criticized, like, the state of Israel before back in the day. It's like, we're not going to work with you, and then they cut all contact with you. Like, you know, stuff like that. So it's not that, it's like, it's not that you're an employee, it's that it's the company itself. So if they find out that it's, like, the company, they won't work with them at all. They won't, and I think that's ridiculous. It's like, why should a state government care about what a foreign country, like a state's government's primary responsibility is to the people of their state. That is what their primary responsibility is. They should not care about, like, some foreign government that's, like, on the other side of the world, like some small government that's, like, smaller than the size of New Jersey, that's, like, on the other side of the world. I think that that's personally ridiculous. That's the way that I look at it. So I think those laws are unconstitutional. I don't think that they belong. That's what I think personally about this. Well, I don't know if Texas has them, but I'm guessing it does. You're telling me that. I don't want to talk politics. I don't want to. I'm going to stay away from that largely, Orion. What's your opinion on $1 billion being wasted on railways in the U.S. and never happened with the speed train? Oh, you mean the California high-speed rail? So, about that is, I'm both, I was both happy and furious about that, because, me personally, I love high-speed rail. I love it. I think that high-speed rail is the future. And I think that America should have high-speed rail. I mean, we are the global superpower. Like, you know, there are so many states that we could build high-speed rail through. We could definitely do it. We could definitely do it as a country. Like, you know, you're telling me that we can put a man on the moon, but we can't, you know, build high-speed rail in the country? So, like, I think that we could definitely do high-speed rail. And so, originally what California was doing with the high-speed rail, I thought that, you know, it might be a good idea, because, you know, they build a high-speed rail, it would be a success, maybe more states could copy it, but it turned into a giant money laundering scheme and corruption, which essentially is what it was. So, like, literally, they spent, like, hundreds of billions of dollars on that high-speed rail project, and they didn't even lay any track down. And it's like, how does that happen? How do you spend, like, 10 years, you wasted, like, hundreds of billions of dollars, and you don't even put any track down? Like, what happened? So, like, I think somebody from the government needs to investigate that. Investigate all the people involved in that, because I'm convinced that that's money laundering at that point. I'm convinced that they really stole money. Like, I think that there was somebody that's pocketed that. I think somebody stole that, so that's what I would say about that. It's so that Israel can cancel their contract if they don't want people to hate them to work for them. But Swag, that's ridiculous. It's like they're gonna cancel contracts with, like, people in their own state because what? Because a foreign government told them to? How sovereign is America at that point if a government that's like a country that's like half the size of New Jersey can, like, dictate this to, like, states like Texas and stuff like that? That's ridiculous. So, like, I don't like stuff like that personally. And I'm gonna speak my mind. I'm gonna say, you know, generally what I want to say. If the state government doesn't want to do business with me, okay, so be it. But I'm gonna, you know, call them out on that. I'm gonna say that they're a bunch of piece of crap. They're scumbags for doing crap like that. That's what I'll say about that. That's my view on it. Chosen, tarnished videos explaining stuff about GTA, 4 tidbits have reignited my interest. His video arguing that Nico would never do the deal is great. I gotta look into that one. And I think that Revenge is the canon ending. I think it is, because I cannot imagine that Nico would ever, like, work with Dimitri again. He wouldn't.
Hell. No.
Damn, okay, this is just a bit ridiculous. Now I'm getting surrounded here.
Back off. Somebody help.
Okay, finally, he's running away. Now I might be able to get him here.
Who do you think you are, tying me up? You ain't getting away with this.
Oh, damn. Is Belarus a puppet state of Russia? To a degree, pretty much it is. But Belarus has been... The thing about it is Belarus has been trying to get away from Russia recently, in recent years. Like, they've been trying to get a little bit farther away from Russia. So, like, the thing about Belarus is that what I personally think about Belarus is Russia, I think, eventually wants to annex Belarus. I think Russia very much does want to do that. And to a degree, Russia has not been necessarily even hiding that they've been trying to annex Belarus. I think that's Russia's ultimate plan, is that they're waiting until Lukashenko dies, and then somebody else, takes power that can be even more pro-Russia. And they will try to do some nonsense where they'll say, oh, the Russian people and the Belarusian people support unity, and then Belarus will, join Russia. But about Belarus is, the dictator of Belarus does not trust Putin. He cooperates with Putin primarily because Russia is so close, so it would pretty much be suicide not to cooperate with Russia. But what Russia tried to do a couple years back is Russia actually tried to overthrow Lukashenko. Now, Russia denied it. They claimed they never tried to do it, but they did. So what Russia did was they basically sent a bunch of Wagner mercenaries undercover into Belarus. This was years before even the Ukraine war started. And they were basically trying to topple the dictator of Belarus to get a more pro-Russian dictator in. And the Belarusian government caught them. They caught the instigators of the coup, and they had arrested them. So these were spies from Russia that were trying to, instigate a coup inside of Belarus. And they were Wagner mercenaries. And the government of Belarus even called them out on it. And the Russian government, denied the whole thing, saying, oh, they were just Russian tourists in Belarus. They weren't trying to do anything. But it was clear that these guys were Wagner mercenaries that were hired by Russia. Why did a bunch of Wagner mercenaries on vacation all of a sudden inside of Belarus? And the dictator of Belarus, I remember, he got so pissed off at Putin that what he did was, Lukashenko's the dictator of Belarus. What he did was he had done his speech in Belarusian. So whenever he would do his speeches, he would always do them in Russian. And that was the first time that he actually did his speech in Belarusian. And when he did that, Russia was so angry about that, and the Russian government was complaining about that, and the Russian media was complaining about that. But just imagine how stupid that is. Just think about that for a second. Imagine how stupid that is. The government of Russia was complaining that the leader of Belarus was doing a speech in his own country's language, in his own native language. They're like, how dare you not do your speech in Russian in your own country? It's last time I checked, Belarus is not part of Russia, it's Belarus. So that's one of the stupidest things I've seen, that they were complaining that the dictator of Belarus did his speech in Belarusian and not Russian. One of the stupidest things I've ever seen. Such a stupid thing to complain about. But that shows you right there, that Russia's ultimate goal is eventually to annex Belarus. And I think that Lukashenko knows this well. And I think, I'm not defending Lukashenko, he's a bad guy in his own way, but I think that he's aware of what Putin is trying to do, and I think he's aware that Russia ultimately wants to annex Belarus, and I think he's trying to figure out a way out of it. That's what I think he's trying to do. You want help selling your moonshine? Sure. When Wagner mercs, when this happened, it happened a couple years ago. I would Google it. Just look up, Wagner coup in Belarus, because that happened a couple years ago. It was Lukashenko had them arrested, but they were from Russia. If I get a contract from India and I insult India, and should we force India to keep paying me for my contract? But we're not, that's not the thing is, Swag, is we're talking about private companies that do business with the state governments. So if there's a private company that's working with the government of Texas, for example, and they're making some kind of construction project, and then the government of the Texas government out of nowhere basically says, oh, this the CEO of this company said this about the Israeli government before in the past, or complained about the Israeli lobby spending money in our government, is now we're canceling all contracts with this company. That's stupid. And I will tell you something. If Israel was so offended by that, and they get so upset, and they basically say, oh, we're not going to work with the state government anymore because, you hired this one person, that's Israel's problem. If they're that sensitive about something like that, then maybe we shouldn't be working with them. Maybe state governments shouldn't be working with them. But state governments should always be siding with their own companies, with their own people, versus siding with a foreign government. That's just the way that I look at it, stuff like that. So, I don't tell, Israel, how to run their country or stuff like that, or run their government, but the Israeli lobby shouldn't be doing stuff like that in America. Is that they shouldn't be getting involved in stuff like this, helping to pass laws like this. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. And last time I checked, Israel does not have laws like this, where if Israeli companies are, criticizing America and stuff like that, they'll stop doing business with them. So that's what I will look at it. So it's really two-sided. Yeah, I agree with that, but if I'm doing a contract for a country, I can be fired for that country. Sure, there's no doubt about that, but that's if you're a foreigner. If you you know, if you were an American company, right? If you're an American company and you went to Israel and you were like doing some construction project or something like that, and you started criticizing the Israeli government, and the Israeli government is basically like, just get out of here, they can do that because it's their country. Sure, I get that. But the problem is when they do it in America, when they basically get like state governments to fire American companies that are working with American state governments, and basically just tell them like, oh, this one person in this company, you know, said this about the Israeli lobby and complained about this, and now, you know, we're cutting, you know, business, you know, contacts. The fact that you can have something like that, like a foreign country, interfere in like America's domestic affairs like that, that's ridiculous. Like, if America did that in their country, like, interfered like that, they would be complaining about that constantly. I'm telling you that. So, you know, I'm not trying to constantly talk about Israel over and over and over again here, but I just think that it's like I said, I just think it's ridiculous that, like, that you can have this much influence from a foreign lobby inside the United States, and I just don't support something like that. Read this super chat. Oh, let me look here. I'm sorry. Do you think I should upgrade my PlayStation Plus to Premium to just play Saints Row 2? Well, I would say no, dude. If you want to play Saints Row 2, and thank you, Eris, for the super chat, but if you want to play Saints Row 2, I think that the best way to do that would be to get a PS3 or an Xbox. You know, Xbox is backwards compatibility, so if you have, like, the, James, did you need help selling your moonshine? I'm sorry. If you have, like, you know, Xbox Series, X or Xbox One, you can play the old Saints Row games on it. That's backwards compatible. You can do that. You can also play it on PS3, or you can even play it on PC. Like, they added a PC patch recently. But, like, getting Premium to just play, like, you know, Saints Row 2, no, I don't think it's worth it. Because you're gonna have to stream the games, right? Streaming them. And I will tell you something. I tried that PlayStation Now thing, the streaming service. I never liked it. I did. And I will tell you, when I played some games in New York, like, I tried playing on the PlayStation Now, because that's where my parents live, so when I visit my parents, some of the games, they ran just fine, but when I was in the Midwest, and I tried to play those exact same games, it was total crap. Like, they ran like crap, like, the games would constantly keep crashing, and I think it has something to do with the Midwestern internet, and for people wondering, I don't have slow internet in the Midwest, I have gig speed internet, but I think it's to do with the servers, like, the servers, because, like, the servers in the Midwest are so far from, like, the Sony servers where they're doing that, and so, because of that, like, the games ran like crap. Like, I was trying to play Operation Flashpoint. If anybody knows Operation Flashpoint, I played those games when I was, a kid, and I tried to play Operation Flashpoint Red River on PS Now, and when I kept playing it, it was so laggy, it was so bad, I couldn't give commands or anything like that, because it's like a game where you give your soldiers commands and stuff like that. It's also a shooter, but, like, you give your squad commands. I couldn't do anything. It was just lagging so much, it was so bad, so I would say no, it's not worth it, you know, doing it just for, you know, Saints Row 2, dude, it's not.
Welcome back.
James, can you start up the posse? Am I gonna play a new Hell Let Loose? Oh, I already have it. Look, see here, I have it. Hell Let Loose Vietnam. I might do a stream of it. I played a few matches of it before. I haven't done a streamer video of it, though, yet. Do you have siblings? I have a half-brother and a half-sister. What is your opinion on Lord Shimura from Ghost of Tsushima? Was he right or wrong, the whole honor thing?
Hello.
I think that one thing that Ghost of Tsushima did really well, and I think the game did a really good job at this, I think they really did, is one thing I think they did really well with that game, is that they showed what Japanese honor is like. Japanese honor is not the same type of honor that we generally think of in the West, and stuff like that, because here's the thing is that when we think of honor, right? When we think of, like, when I think of honor, like, what I generally think of when I think of honor, I think about being a decent person. I think about being an honest person. I think about being a person that does always the right thing, doesn't cheat, steal, you know, stuff like that. That's what I see as honor is, like, you know, doing the right thing. But in Japanese, honor is very different. At least, like, honor, like, hundreds of years ago, very different. Even up until World War II, like, World War II, Japan had a very twisted sense of honor. So, like, in Japanese honor, how Japanese honor worked is that your honor was dependent all on what your lord tells you to do. So if your lord tells you to go and slaughter a village and just kill everyone, including the women and the children, that was considered the honorable thing to do. So it was what your lord told you to do is what was the honorable thing. So when your lord would tell you to do something, that's what was considered the honorable thing. That's what they considered honor back then in that time period. It was always listening to your lord and telling you, to do this and that, and stuff like that. I know if anybody here has played Ghost of Yotei, Ghost of Yotei also covers this a little bit as well. Ghost of Yotei, the Oni, the general, the Oni was the one who killed, he killed the, Jin's, or not Jin's, Atsu's father. Atsu's father. He was the one who killed Atsu's father, and I think it was Saito who killed the mother, right? But, about him is he, when Atsu, confronted him on this and said to him about how you, attack children and stuff like this. The Oni, I remember in that scene, he says, do you think that I enjoy this? Do you think that I enjoy, killing children? And then he says, I have to do whatever Saito tells me to do. It's my honor. That's what he says. So the Oni doesn't like doing that. He doesn't like killing kids and doing stuff like that. He generally probably sees it as wrong. But the reason that he did it was because Saito told him to do it, because Saito was his lord, and he has to follow whatever Saito tells him to do. So that's what they considered honor. So, if you actually spoke out against your lord and you told your lord, no, I'm not going to murder those people, that would actually be considered dishonorable in, feudal Japan. So, that's what it was, seemed like. So, that's not, that's what people don't understand about Japanese honor, is it was, very different. It was generally what the government told you to do and what your lord told you to do. Hey, Pro, there's a weird account in your videos, Play Driver. Yeah, I know about that. It's Dominic. He's mostly harmless for the most part. I haven't seen him ever do anything bad. He's just constantly spamming for me to play Driver. I know about that. I've seen the comments so many times. I'm just gonna leave him alone for the most part, because he's not, really, threatening anybody or doing anything bad. I know his spam can get a bit annoying. But I've seen the comments before, so I know what you're talking about. Remember how they put Tanner in GTA 3? I remember that. It was the Yakuza mission where you killed him. Not trying to make this a religious question, but I'm curious, do you believe humans have souls, or are we simply made up of physical matter like meat, bones, and biology? I will just tell you what I personally believe, but I don't judge anybody else on what they believe. I'd like to believe that every living person has a soul or something like that inside of them, but I don't know. That's ultimately my view on it. I don't know. So, I'm an agnostic. I'm not like an atheist. When I was younger, I was an atheist. But I'm more of like an agnostic. I lean more towards believing. So it's not like I don't believe in God. I lean much more towards believing. So I don't know. I still see the possibility of there being no God, but I just I lean more towards believing. I like to at least believe that there's something out there. I at least like to believe that. Because for me personally, it would make me really depressed if I knew that there was nothing out there. That's what it was. But I also see it as a possibility, because that might be the reality, but I don't know. So that's just, everyone is free to believe what they want, but that's just what I think personally. That's just my view on it. We'll do some poker here. I wonder if anybody's playing poker at this hour right now. Unarmed assault, oh no.
Whatever's happening there needs to stop.
Oh great, the witness.
Holy ah!
Help! Somebody!
We can resolve this.
No meal is complete if it don't got meat.
Stop.
You want to lock him up? Hey! Stop!
There you go. What? No. Oh great.
No, no, no.
Devil knows.
Can I do a voice impression of Moist Critical? I probably wouldn't be good at that. Well, I would love for there to be high-speed rail. And I will tell you something. If there was high-speed rail in America, I would take that over planes. I would. Even if it took longer, even if it was a bit more expensive, because it would be much more relaxing. I would much rather use that to travel the country. Much more prefer. Not having to deal with the airplane, taking on and off, going through all the security and everything like that. I could actually have my own room, you know, sit down, maybe lie down. I know certain versions have beds too. I'd much rather prefer that. But if I'm gonna be like, I know there are sleeper trains that exist, I know that, but like those take days and days to get somewhere. I'm talking like something that would take hours, so I would much rather a high-speed rail over airlines any day. Do you know how old your half-siblings are? No. I don't know how old they are. I just know they're in their 40s. That's what I know. This is where we're gonna go. What is the reason on why you think Saints Row 2 is the best open world crime game? The world is great. The neighborhoods are all very diverse. The customization is way better than GTA's customization, both clothing, character, and car customization. It has so many weapons. It has more weapons than GTA 4, for example. It has the money system is really good. Like there's so many things to buy: cars, properties. You can customize how your penthouses with it. The activities are all great. The story is really cool. Saints Row 2 is ultimately, just for me, I think the best game ever made. I really do think it's the best game ever made.
Oh, my lucky day.
Evening, Ford.
If Japan can do it, why can't we? I will tell you something. Do you know something? Do you know what they're talking about in the news in New York recently? There's a proposal to build either a bridge from Long Island to Connecticut or a tunnel. There's a proposal for that right now. It's pretty big in the news in New York. And about that is, do you know how much hope I have that they're going to build that tunnel and that bridge? Zero. That's how much hope I have. Because every couple years they talk about this, where they say, oh, let's build a bridge from, Connecticut to Long Island. Let's do it. Or let's build a tunnel. They always talk about it constantly. And don't get me wrong, it would be great. If they actually did that, I would 100% support that. Because I usually go, when I visit my family in November, I then usually go visit my friend that's in Maine. And if they had that that bridge, I could just cross directly from there, because my parents where my parents live right now in Long Island, and so I could avoid the city, and I could save probably an hour or two of my drive, just doing that. I wouldn't have to go through all the New York traffic. But the reason that bridge and that tunnel never gets built, it's a variety of reasons: corruption, bureaucracy, And also, you have governments that constantly get involved and don't want to build it. So, like New York, for example, is scared that they're going to lose toll revenue when that bridge is built. That people aren't going to, Long Island drivers aren't going to have to drive through New York City anymore, and they're not going to have to pay the congestion prices and all this other crap that they have. So like nothing ever gets done because of these stupid, incompetent politicians and this bureaucracy that's always happening all the time. And so I say politicians are literally like the scum of the earth. Because nothing can ever get done. Have I played Skyrim? Oh yeah, a lot. Well, we have the funding for high-speed rail. Look at how much money we spend. But honestly, I will tell you something. Sometimes I think that it's embarrassing. I think it is. Because... Oh, I'm gonna 100% win this hand. Oh, I'm gonna win this, yeah. Unless somebody else has an ace besides me, but... Mafia Old Country stream on Wednesday. Well, Ronin is somebody that's a warrior, that's not a samurai. But listen, when I was, let's see what we got. What cards? A king here? Huh, okay. What card does he have? Don't have an ace. Please don't have an ace. There we go. Look at that hand. China already has hundreds of miles of high-speed rail. Yes, and I agree with you there, is that China did successfully build high-speed rail. They did. They did a good job with it, actually. But I will tell you that it is embarrassing a lot of times that we are supposed to be the richest country in the world, and literally, if you look at like what a New York City subway station looks like, it's disgusting. It is disgusting. Like, it is it. And I'm allowed to say that because I'm from New York. So, like, I'll tell you, New York City subway stations are disgusting. Like, the infrastructure is bad. The garbage is bad. You'll see rats. It's just disgusting. The trains look old, ugly. It's bad. And, like, and the thing is, like, it embarrasses me so much. Like, I'm not ashamed to be an American. I'm proud to be an American. But I think that it embarrasses, like, our country so much. Well, like, tourists come to New York, and, like, riding the subways is, like, supposed to be one of the most iconic things in New York, and, like, tourists will come here and they'll see how dirty, ugly the subways are, and this is the impression that they get of America. And so, like, it's embarrassing that they're like, if you look at a country like Japan, for example, is like, Japan got obliterated in World War II. Like, Japan's had entire cities burnt down. We're not just talking about the atomic bombings, but, like, Tokyo got firebombed. Like, it got completely burnt down. And Japan had just so much of their country destroyed. But Japan managed to pick itself up and rebuild their country, and they have high-speed rail in their country. But, like, America doesn't even have high-speed rail. How is that even possible? Like, literally, a country like America would be a perfect country for high-speed rail. The plains, the flatlands that we have, like, you could build high-speed rail from California to New York. It could be done. They built the Transcontinental Railroad, literally, over 150 years ago. They built a railroad 150 years ago that goes across, and you're telling me that today they can't build a high-speed rail that goes from California to New York? They can't do that? That's an impossible project? It's not impossible. It's just the reason we haven't built it is because we have incompetent, stupid, corrupt politicians who constantly try to sabotage crap like this constantly. Switzerland also has high-speed rails. Yeah, and it's honestly, it just pisses me off. I really wish we had high-speed rails in America. I really wish we would. I would much prefer that over flying. Much prefer that. There was a lobby for cars. It wasn't just the cars. It was also the airlines. The airlines are also against high-speed rails. They are. Probably spitting facts, so thank you. And thank you, Eris, for the super chat. Mafia 3 related question. Would Lincoln Clay be able to join an Italian mafia since his father is believed to be Italian? And would it be possible in the context of modern day, for example? Probably not. So Lincoln is supposed to be half Italian. And I think where is Lincoln's mother? What is her nationality? Was it Haiti? I'm trying to remember what Lincoln's mother's nationality was. It was like a Caribbean island, I think it was. It might not have been Haiti, but I know his mother, her nationality was from one of the Caribbean islands, I think. Lincoln's dad was an Italian, so that makes Lincoln half Italian. But the thing about that is that in the Italian mafia, you almost always need 100% Italian to be, like, to be in the family. Oh, it was Dominican. Okay, it wasn't Haitian, it was Dominican. Okay, so you need to be almost 100% Italian to be in the Italian mafia. Back in the day, it was like almost 100%, you need to be 100% Sicilian, but now it just needs to be Italian. So, like, both of your parents need to generally be Italian for you to to be in the mafia. Like, if you guys remember J.D. O'Toole in GTA Liberty City Stories, the reason that he was never a made man in the Sindaco family was because he was half Italian. He was half Italian and half Irish. He had one Irish parent, one Italian parent. That is why he was never a made man. And also, the other thing about it is Lincoln would not be allowed for two reasons. The first reason is because he's half Italian, and the second reason he would not be allowed in the Italian mafia is because the Italian mafia is very racist. That is it. So a lot of people don't realize how racist the Italian mafia is. They're very racist. They are. Like, the Italian mafia hates black people. They hate Jewish people. The Italian mafia is not nice towards other people. Like I say, like, they're already criminals, but a lot of people, like, they're also very sexist, for example, too. Like, the Italian mafia will not allow women in their organization, no matter how intelligent they are, how much they can offer. They will not allow that. They'll allow women as, like, associates and stuff like that they work with, like, on businesses, but they will never allow a woman to become a maid man. That's not happen. So, like, that's what I'll say about the Italian mafia. The Italian, like, if an Italian mafia family let, like, a black person become a made man, if they actually did that, all the other families would laugh at them. They would. And I'm not defending them doing that. What I'm just saying is that they would all laugh at them. Like literally, that mafia family, everybody would be laughing at them, everybody making fun of them over that. So, like, they're, like I said, it's a pretty racist organization, and so they would never allow, like, a black person to become, like, a made man in their family. It's just unheard of. It would just not happen. If you do want to see, like, a show where the Italian mafia has, like, a black guy that's a made man, there is one show like that. If anybody ever watches, like, Tulsa King, in Tulsa King is the main character from the show. He's like a mobster, an Italian mobster from New York that gets out of prison, and he gets sent to Tulsa to set up, his own business there, but the mafia is really doing that to send him away. He gets pissed off, and he basically starts his own family. And his own mafia family doesn't go by, like, the hierarchy of, like, the traditional Italian thing. And so, like, he brings in, like, Southerners into his family that are not, like, Italian any means. He brings a black guy into his family, too. So, like, made men also, fully made men. It's like, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care about those rules and stuff like that. So if, like, anybody's interested, watch Tulsa King. It's actually a pretty good show, but like that. Criminals don't need to be wholesome, progressive, inclusive, pro, but narratively, we don't want to be cheer for scumbag. Well, what I was just getting at is I was just saying is that a lot of people, they do not realize just how racist the Italian mafia is. And it's not just necessarily against black people. The Italian mafia is really racist against really everybody. Really. And it's not just the Italian mafia. Virtually most ethnic gangs, like gangs that are set up specifically on an ethnicity, are almost always racist. Almost always. So, like, gangs that are just specifically set up as just on one ethnicity. So it could be like the Triads, for example. They're pretty racist too. But like, is that, like, you could have, like, somebody that's, like, Irish or Polish, and, like, they make the family a bunch of money, but they will never let them into the family. So, like, if you look at, like, Hesh in The Sopranos, for example, like, Hesh in The Sopranos was Jewish, but he made the Soprano family so much money. Like, he made them millions of dollars, but they would never let him become a made man because he's Jewish. He's not Italian. So that's how they operate. Like, is they will not let anybody who is not, Italian into their organization. Tyson was never became a made guy, nor did the other guys. No, that's not true, Elias. Tyson was a made guy. He was a soldier. So like Tyson in Tulsa King was very much a soldier. So they never say it, like they never have like a made man ceremony for him, but Tyson is a made man in Tulsa King, and there's proof that he's a made man because in that episode where Tyson went to Bevilacqua's house and he waited in front of his driveway, and then one of Bevilacqua's guys saw him and opened fire on him, and then Tyson shot back at him and hit him. That was like, if an associate did that in any family, that associate would be killed if any associate did that. But when Tyson was at the table with, you know, the boss, who was Manfredi, and he was also there with the consigliere, which was, Goody was the consigliere, is that Tyson was basically like, what happens now? And Manfredi basically said, is like, you don't get it. We're a family. We're gonna protect you no matter what you do. So, like, that was basically confirming that he was a made man. So, like, that was it. So, yes, Tyson was a made man in Tulsa King. He very much is. Mafia, the Old Country, I'll have the part up in the morning. And Thomas Burke could never be made in Mafia 3. Yeah, because he was Irish. All politicians should be, is it bad that I try to see good in bad people, not evil people, though? It's not necessarily a bad thing, Vertical Doors, because you're always trying to see good in somebody. But I will tell you is that there are some people that just generally do not change. They don't. We're not just talking evil people, we're just talking bad people in general. So it's not a bad thing that you see good and even in bad people. That's not a bad thing. That's actually a good trait to have. It shows that you generally have a good heart, and you want to see good in everyone. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The only thing I will say is that there are some people that they will not change no matter what, ever. So like, never. What I would say is, there's never anything. Here's the way that I would frame it: is that there's nothing wrong with being kind. Kindness is always a benefit. It is always a plus. There's nothing wrong with kindness. But what I will say this, never let kindness turn into weakness, because there's a difference between kindness and weakness. There's a difference between it. So that's what I would say, is never let kindness turn into weakness. So you can be the kindest person on the planet, but never let that turn into weakness. Because if you let that turn into weakness, people will take advantage of you. They will use you all the time because they know how kind you are, and they will take advantage of you. They will screw you over all the time whenever they can. And these people, they have no morals. Like I said, they don't care. They have no empathy. They will gladly take advantage of you. So that's like what I would say. I don't think there's any limit to kindness. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a kind person, a gentle, nice person in general, even seeing the good in everyone, even bad people. But I would just say is never let that turn into weakness. That's just the one thing that I will say, because people will scam you and they will take advantage of you at that point. I had this happen all the time in my job. When I used to work in retail, I had that happen where I would help people out all the time, and I didn't even need to help them. It wasn't even my job. I would cover shifts for these people, constantly come in on my days off to help them out. And whenever I needed it, they would never be there for me, ever. But they would always guilt trip me, like, oh, please help me, Pat. Please help me right now. I have to do this and that. Like, I have this going on in my family, this, that. And I would always be there to help them out, cover for their shift and stuff like that. But when I had something going on in my family or I needed, oh, I'm sorry, Pat, I can't do it right now. I'm busy with this and that. It was always like that. It was always that. So that's what I'll say, is that there's no question in my mind that people are taking advantage of me at my job. So that's what I'll say, is that kindness is always a good trait to have. It's an honorable trait. And it's if you had to choose whether being, being completely rude or like completely kind, it was being kind would always be a plus, even if you're being taken advantage of, because at least you're a decent person. But that's what I'll say about it, is that don't let people take advantage of you. That's ultimately what I'll say about that. All politicians should be uninvited by Rhonda Wellington Lloyd and added to the geek list for being an embarrassment to humanity. That'll be a start. Thank you, Tricky Mario. Thank you for the super chat. How long is the drive from Long Island to Maine? 5 to 6 hours. But wasn't that primarily in the American Cosa Nostra? What about in mainland Italy, like in Sicily? There's that one acting boss, Anna Lisa in Sopranos. Oh, about that, she became a boss because I think it was that her husband died, or it was her father that was the boss, and he was just too ill to take power. I think that was pretty much what that was. So like she wasn't like appointed in that role. She kind of just moved in there over time. That's what had happened. There have been some instances where some Italian mafia families had been like run by women. That has happened before, but it wasn't like where the woman like worked her way up and stuff like that. It was usually that she was the wife of the boss, and the boss died or went to prison or something like that, and she ended up taking power. It was something like that. And usually the boss would support something like that, and the reason the boss would support something like that is because the boss usually trusts his wife. So that's what the is. So like when the boss says it, is everybody else has to listen to it essentially. So even if they don't like it. Thank you, Jolly, for the super chat. You look kind of sad. Oh, good. Yeah, I'm fine, dude. I'm fine. Did I ever experience hailstorms? Yes, I did. A hailstorm destroyed the roof of one of my rental properties once. I had an insurance claim filed to fix it. Yeah, I do want to play Wolverine's Plans. Didn't Michael Franchise say that only your father has to be Italian in order to be made? I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to look that one up. I just know that for most of the Mafia's history, it was always that both of your parents had to be Italian. But I don't know. Maybe something changed, or maybe I don't know. If Michael Franchise said so, then it's true, because he's just much more knowledgeable about this stuff than a lot of us are in the Mafia. Do you think GTA 6 will have its own North Yankton or Guarma? What I think is, I think GTA 6 might have one mission in Liberty City. I think they might have something like that, and they might do that just for nostalgia. But I think that if they have, like, a mission in Liberty City, it's going to be, like, not like where you explore the city or something like that. It might be something like San Andreas. Like, you know, the callback of San Andreas where CJ went to Liberty City for, like, a mission. It might have something like that. Wasn't that what Packy said, too, in GTA 4, how his family, Irish family ran Liberty City before everyone else? Nah, I don't believe that. I think that Packy is talking a lot of nonsense in those scenes. I think the McCrearys were much more powerful back in the day. I think they were. They were much tougher, but they didn't run the city. Like, the Italian families had been there since, like, for decades. You know, Gravelli has been, like, a mafia boss since the 70s. And he was like the most powerful mafia boss. And you're telling me that Packy's family was stronger than John Gravelli? No, I don't buy that. So while they were probably tougher, maybe they like ran Dukes or something like that, because that's where they were, Dukes, which is based on Queens. So I could see that, like, you know, they maybe controlled that borough, but like to control the whole city, no, I don't believe that. I don't think that it's true. But I remember what Gordon said is like when Gordon says, like, oh, here we go again, the McCrearys ran the city, we were kings, everybody was scared of us, and stuff like that, and then Packy's like, it's true, and then Gordon said, you know, like, the reason that so many people were, I think he said that the reason that so many people died was because they were so, the being bored to death from the stories was what killed them. I think that's what Gordon said, something like that. And then Packy's like, if I hear you say that again, Gordon, I'm gonna come back here and beat you up. Like, it was something like that. Gordon said that. It was pretty funny when he said that. But it was a pretty funny one. What are your thoughts on Andrew Tate? Nah, I think the guy's a moron. You know, the guy's always involved in some kind of controversy, something bad. I seen the way the guy talks. The guy sounds like an idiot to me, honestly. Hey, Native Engine, how you doing, buddy? I think that Phil Bell might come back. Jimmy might come back, but that's GTA 5. Jerry Kapowitz will come back, the homeless guy who found the diamonds. Did the Irish rule some part of Chicago at some point? Yes and no. So the Irish ran the north side of Chicago for a long time. It was the North Side Gang. That was, back in the days of Prohibition. But when they did it, it wasn't even the Irish. The North Side Gang was a weird gang. Because the North Side Gang was a very, diverse gang. Like, it was mostly Irish. So, like, the people that were in the North Side Gang, like, probably 60% of them were Irish, so more than half of them. 30% of them were Polish. Like, Polish was the second biggest group. Like, Jaime Weiss was Polish, who was, who took over, like, after Dino Bannion died. And then, like, the other 10% were, like, it was, like, Welsh and Germans. That's what it was. So it was, like Welsh, German, Polish, and an Irish gang all put together. The canon ending for GTA 4's Revenge. I'm fully confident in that. Have I shot a Polish AK? Yes, I fired a Polish AK-74. Play Saints Row 2, let's skip. It's a great game. Hey, Moscat, how you doing, buddy? Do I have a favorite, failed mission call in GTA 4? Yes. I think the funniest, the funniest mission fail call in GTA 4, it was where Nico, and this is what people don't know. I'm trying to remember exactly what Nico says in the call, because it's really funny. Let me think for a moment what Nico says, because it's a failed call to Roman, but it's actually really funny. Okay, so this is what happens, is, do you know that mission where you pick up Michelle and Mallory, and you drive them to, Michelle's house? And then, Roman tells Nico to go and, pick up some new clothes. When you go into the clothing store, if you kill or beat up the shopkeeper in the clothing store, it'll fail the mission. And then you get a unique phone call right after that one, where Nico will call Roman. And I remember what Nico says. And Nico says, "Hey, Roman, maybe I shouldn't be trusted to do my own shopping. Me and the shop attendant had a difference in opinion over the pricing." And then it's such a ridiculous thing that you failed the mission because you beat up and killed the clothing store clerk. And then Roman says, like, "Nico, what am I to do? I need to trust you with some things. It better not be anything serious." That's what he says. That was it. So it's like the most ridiculous phone call. It's like Nico tells Roman that he like beat up the shopkeeper because he had a difference in opinion over the pricing. It's a really funny one. But if you want to trigger that phone call, just do that mission. It's like one of the beginning missions. I forget the name of it. I think it's Three's a Company. That's the name of the mission. You go and you drive Mallory and Michelle to Michelle's house, and then afterwards you just go and just beat up the shopkeeper, and then you'll get that phone call right after that. It's pretty funny. Freeze a crowd. Yes, that's the name of the mission. Freeze a crowd. Would I rather live on Guarma or Cayo Perico? Probably neither one, because Guarma is technically part of Cuba. And if I lived in Guarma today, I'd be living under a communist government, which I certainly wouldn't want to. But if I had to choose between Guarma and Cayo Perico, it would be Guarma. Because I don't want to live on an island with a, cartel boss. But what I would do is I would just escape from Cuba. That's what I would do. So at least it'd be easier to escape Guarma than escape Cayo Perico. what's your opinion on Excelsius Winter and Simeon Saint? Are they psychopaths? Simeon Saint is not a psychopath. But I would say that he's a sociopath. That's what I would say about him. Because you have to remember that Simeon Saint was not a, Simeon Saint wasn't originally an evil person. He never really did anything wrong. His father abandoned him. You have to remember that. His father abandoned him. And then remember what happened at the orphanage too. Like the whole backstory is just really disturbing. It's really sad. He feels that his life was essentially ruined. So it was you know, that's basically what started his whole villain arc. But as for Excelsius Winter, Excelsius Winter would be close to a psychopath. But he's for someone to be a psychopath, they have to have no empathy. But he was an extreme narcissist. That's what it was. So he was a narcissist, and he was also corrupt. Would you like to fire a Spaz 12 one day, even with its reputation of being one of the crankiest shotguns with low-grain 12G shells? Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, almost 4:30 in the morning here. Pro, can you please read my chat? Hey, Spreezo, what's up, dude? Well, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap up my stream, but I'll read Spreezo's comment before I go. It's almost 4:30 in the morning, almost about here, so I'm gonna pass out soon. But let me see here. Spreezo, can you just type, what's your question? Because I can't see your comment. Just type it again. What's your question? Is Gustavo Fring a psychopath? No. Gustavo Fring is not a psychopath because, he, what was it? His lover Max, when his lover Max was killed, he was deeply affected by that. A psychopath doesn't love anybody. They don't love anybody. They don't have, you know, emotions or empathy for anybody. So, like, no, he's not a psychopath. The closest character to a psychopath that is in, Breaking Bad is Todd. Todd is the perfect example of a psychopath because it's somebody that has no empathy. They don't have any empathy. They have, like, almost no emotions. They might appear very calm and stuff like that, but they can literally just turn extremely violent in a second and show little to no emotion. So, like, Todd is a perfect example of psychopath. Let me see here. Spreezo, what can you did you type your comment again? I'm looking for it. I guess because they take too long, and I just don't like air travel as much. Bro. Todd's uncle is also a psychopath, maybe, but Todd's uncle, as bad as he is, generally seems to care about Todd and care about Todd, because he, the only reason that he spares Walt is I remember he said that my nephew would never talk to me again if I killed you. That's what he says to Walt, which shows that he values Todd and cares about Todd, and he would be affected if Todd did not want to talk to him ever again. So, that's it. But when his uncle died, Todd didn't even care. He didn't even acknowledge that. So that's what I would say is that he's not Todd's uncle isn't a psychopath. Todd is.
How are you? Get out of the way, damn you.
Spreezo, did you type your comment up? Hang on, I'm gonna see if I can try to find Spreezo's comment again. Spreezo, I'll wait like a minute or two. I still want to answer your question. No, I haven't, Ricky.
Good to see you back.
Ralph is probably one of the most evil characters in The Sopranos, yeah. 1899 Guarma, or present day. Oh. It's still very bad, but, probably 1899 Guarma, because it still might even be easier to escape. How's my English, by the way? It's perfect.
Would you watch it?
Yeah, I want to play Vice City Next Gen before GTA 6 comes out, so yeah.
Welcome back. Something slip your mind before?
Yes, that was me, Vito. I did respond to you the other day. Yes, I thanked you for that. I remember the Gallipoli, thing. I remember that was me. I appreciate it, a lot, Vito.
Let's go. I got places to be.
Get moving.
But it's gonna be a PlayStation code, right? Or what system would it be? Well, I guess Spreezo isn't here right now. Spreezo, if you leave a comment after this stream is up, I can probably answer it on that, or reply to you then. I don't know what's going on right now, dude. Little Jacob is not a government agent. No. But why is Patsy your favorite character? I guess his personality. One thing I liked about Patsy is that Patsy kept his mouth shut for the most part, and he didn't start drama. That's what I liked about him. I also liked his sense of humor. I did like Patsy's sense of humor. But like Patsy had his issues when his brother died, but then after that he never started drama. He never caused problems. Like if you look at like Polly and Chris, for example, like Polly and Chris caused so many problems for the family. Like Polly and Chris, just both of them caused so many issues. So many issues. Like look at the issues Richie caused. You know, so many of them. Even Silvio caused more issues than Patsy did. So, like, Lily, Patsy barely caused really any problems. He always kept to himself, didn't start drama or anything like that. So that's generally why he was probably my favorite character in The Sopranos. So yeah, I did like him a lot. Oh, okay, Vito. Through Steam, right? Spreezo, you sent something to me. Is that Arabic? Hang on. I've never said I hate America. On the contrary, I love it and enjoy visiting. Whenever I'm back home, I always try to steer clear of talk about politics, the government, and heavy topics like Iran and Israel. Well, no, and Spreezo, I'm not saying that you ever said that you hate America. The only thing I was just saying is that there's a difference between like people who criticize the government and people who say that they hate the country. It's not the same thing. I don't think that when somebody says they hate, you know, the country, that's generally like a bad statement to make. It's not a nice statement. When somebody says they hate the government, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's anything wrong with that whatsoever. So that's basically my view on it there. Because, like, a country hasn't really done anybody any harm. A country itself. A country is just the people and the culture that are in there. Like, you know, America as a country, like, the country, not the government, isn't a bad place. It's not a bad, you know, place. It's generally a nice place, but it's more the government that's causes issues.
Let me get through.
Hating your government is not the same as hating your country. That's what I'll say about that. What's your opinion on the dreams in The Sopranos? I think they were pretty accurate because of how just weird and bizarre dreams are. Like, dreams are just so weird sometimes, and I think it probably captured that. Do you know that you can actually see Ryder in Sweet's house during the mission Sweet's girl at the corner of the kitchen? There's a trash can. This trash can is Ryder because Ryder's a trash character. Oh, that's great. That's a great one. That's a great joke. Yep. You look pretty tired. I am a little tired. But thank you for the support. Also Spreezo. Well, I guess I will be going here, guys. I'm just a bit tired. I'm gonna, probably take a shower and then go to bed. Yeah, I'm a bit exhausted. It's like 4:30 in the morning. So I'm gonna go here. Thank you guys for watching. Tomorrow, or I shouldn't say tomorrow, I should say later today, because it's already past midnight. But later today, I will have the Mafia, the Old Country, the new Salieri DLC. It'll be all up. So if you want to check that out, I'll have the video, the whole DLC. Me playing through the whole thing and giving my thoughts on it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful